Basically, what it comes down to right now is I think the Sox have two likely pieces to end up getting traded. Both of them are in the starting rotation. Lucas Giolito obviously being the primary candidate and the most talked about one. I think speculation has really started to ramp up here over the course of the last couple of days with the conclusion of the All-Star game and the MLB draft that took place on Sunday. Looking at this thing realistically, Giolito, outside of Marcus Stroman and maybe Blake Snell, if the Padres decide they want to start to try to divest themselves a little bit with how bad their season has gone, Giolito would be either the second or third most appealing starting pitching option out there on the market. So the three teams that I really identified and really honed in on my piece, and really, if you look at the articles with Giolito and Lynn, all six of the teams that I outlined have a need for starting pitching. Lucas Giolito fits in all six of these teams in particular. But from the White Sox perspective here, because he is their most valuable trade commodity, they really need to try to maximize this return. And so this is where the three teams, the Orioles, the Dodgers, and the Cincinnati Reds, I think are the three primary targets because those are three of the five top farm systems in the sport. Obviously you could certainly make a case for the Tampa Bay Rays being in there as well and the Arizona Diamondbacks. But, those three teams, I think, have the most glaring needs for Giolito, given the Dodgers and their injury problems that they're having here right now. They're not getting a lot of length out of their starting rotation. The Orioles just are not getting quality from their starting rotation, and the Reds are not getting quality or length out of the starting rotation right there. So all three of those teams have glaring needs, and Lucas Giolito is the type of guy that could really change their playoff trajectory. Especially you think about a team like the Orioles right now. They are actually a game in front of Tampa Bay in the loss column now. They're only one game back. Think about this. Tampa started the year 13-0. Everybody thought that AL East was done and over with. How important is it to win that division, get that first round bye so that you can save yourself some bullets during the month of October, especially for a team like the Orioles that haven't made the playoffs since 2016. If you can get a chance to win your division and get that bye, that is huge. And Lucas Giolito can be the type of guy that can really push that over the top. And then the piece I wrote today with Lance Lynn, kind of the same thing. And the three teams that I identified most with him, the San Francisco Giants, the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Tampa Bay Rays. And unfortunately, Boob Nightingale reported that the Rays have had conversations with the Sox about Lance Lynn. And as I wrote in my piece, the one team I would not want the Sox to be trading with the Tampa Bay Rays, because if the Rays want one of your guys, they obviously see something that you don't. And you should be thinking about that. What do they see that we don't? Because he would go down there, they'd tweak something with a grip or with a pitch mix, and then all of a sudden now the home run problem that he's had all year dissipates. That's really been the biggest wart on Lance Lynn's season here, is his propensity to give up the home run balls. You look at the two teams out in the NL West, the Diamondbacks and the Giants. Both teams right there are in pitcher-friendly parks, are not surrendering home runs at great regularity, well below league average here in 2023 and over the course of the last 3 seasons. So that's the type of thing that could really help Lance Lynn rebound here for the remaining 2 months of the season. With the Dodgers now firmly in first place, having a full 2-game cushion, the Giants now leapfrogging Arizona into second place, a half game separating those teams right there. You got 3.5 games separating these 3 teams right there. If 2 of those teams end up getting starting pitching reinforcement right there, that could really alter the final 2 months of that race out there in the National League West. And it's a good position for the Sox to ultimately be forcing those 3 teams to have to bid against each other.
Yeah, right. They're all good points there. And I think you gave a good rundown of it. Once again, ontapsportsnet.com. Go and check it out there. When I was looking through it, Steve, just from a White Sox perspective, I couldn't help but think about Lance Lynn on the Giants. What would that be like? And would they give him the business for all of the, I know Kopech had a big home run game, but they also hammered Lance early on in the season. Thinking about some of those other places. That to that point, though, I think what you said there is pertinent. That the spacious Oracle Park, it would give him some relief from the propensity for the home run ball. So interesting destinations there. Any predictions? I know you kind of just outlined, landing spots and stuff like that. And any predictions about where these guys might actually end up when it's all said and done?
Yeah, if I'm going to make predictions, I actually think the Giants match up the best and is the most ideal situation for Lance Lynn, just given the inconsistency that he has had this year. I would think a team like the Diamondbacks and some of the other teams that I've mentioned that have more depth within their farm systems would possibly try to shoot higher for maybe a Marcus Stroman or a Blake Snell if available. The Giants have a middle of the pack farm system. A lot of it is very pitching heavy, AA and below, and I think that's probably reasonable from a return standpoint of what we should expect for Lance Lynn. So I'm kind of looking at that as something that makes the most sense. And I do think that the Dodgers are the most practical for Lucas Giolito. Maybe they can tie a reliever to him, maybe Aaron Bummer or Joe Kelly to try to get some additional money off the books right there. As I talked about in the piece, look, the Dodgers are trying to win their first non-Mickey Mouse World Series in 35 years, and they need pitching reinforcements to do this because their pitching right now is not anywhere close to what has been kind of the standard for this team in this decade-plus run that they've been on.
Yeah, right. Good points there. And obviously the family, or excuse me, the hometown connection, you'll hear all about that, as you highlighted there. So from that perspective, I think it'd be funny. Once again, like I said, I enjoy the crapping on those stories that certain media outlets build up. So I think it'd be hilarious if we went to the Reds instead. Kind of like in Ohio.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. I mean, I would love it if Giolito went to the Orioles and then the Sox were able maybe to pluck one of the quarter positional bats out of the Orioles instead of with the Dodgers, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, just go back to the Dodgers real quick, though. I did have a question on that. Any chance, I know that they have a couple of catchers high up in there, any chance of landing any of those, or would that be too steep? Do you need to do a package to get any, I'm just looking at catcher position. It's like right now, Seby Zavala is the one next year, and that's not going to work. And I'm sorry, Carlos Perez ain't it either, and there's no other real depth within the system. So the catcher is going to be a need. You need someone to fucking just be behind the plate next year.
Yeah, no, that is very important. The Dodgers' top prospect, Diego Cartaya, I think he's a top 20 prospect in the league right now. I find it very hard to believe that the Sox would be able to get him for 2 months of Lucas Giolito personally. They have another guy down in single A, Dalton Rushing. That is their number 3 ranked prospect. I think maybe him with one of their pitchers that is in AAA right now, maybe a little bit further down their prospect depth chart. I think something like that could potentially be realistic. But again, if you're acquiring a catcher that is in single A right now, I mean, you're looking at least a couple of years away, but that wouldn't be a bad thing because as you talked about there, the catching position here is going to be a major, major issue coming here in 2024. And I have a fear of what I think is going to happen with that. I mean, do we want to go down tinfoil hat line?
You can go real quick. I'm thinking it's Seby Zavala is the opening day number 1 catcher. My greatest offensive, numbers.
My greatest fear is that given Pedro Gaffrol and Chris Getz and their history with Kansas City. Sal Perez.
Oh my gosh. That's we're in scary hours territory now because Sal Perez. I mean, think about all the smack that we've talked about him over the years as a fan base, as us just here shooting the shit. That I think that would hurt my heart a little bit. I mean, would technically be an answer, but would it be a good answer? Probably not.
It would be something.
You get some pop. I'll give him that. He hits the ball hard, far.
Yeah. When he connects.
Yeah, and he's put it in that I guess on that fan deck out in center field. I mean, that would be cool to see. But at the same time, we got Sal here. Kind of where I'm going with this. How dare you, Steve? Don't speak that into existence.
This is almost like when I spoke the Abreu to the Astros thing last September.